What's up, everybody? I'm Jane Sawyer, and this is Jane Sawyer Makes a Thumbs Up Machine, and you can make one too. So a while back, I made this stupid little machine for TikTok. I hoped it would make a couple people laugh. It ended up being quite popular, and a lot of people wanted one. But I don't make stuff for sale. I don't do any production work. But I wanted people to be able to have one, and I wanted people to be able to make one. So this is a version of that machine that you can make at home. There's a free template to print out onto cardstock. You can find that at janesawyermakes.com. And this is the tutorial to put that template together.
Here's the stuff you'll need. 20 gauge galvanized or copper wire. If you get this at the hardware store, you'll save yourself a few bucks. Some floral or craft wire. Around 26 gauge is what you're looking for. A pair of scissors or a sharp craft knife. A scoring tool, I usually just take a paring knife out of my kitchen. A push pin, pliers with a wire cutter or wire nippers or side cutters, and a marker. The star on the push pin here is because the pin part of your push pin has to be thicker than your 20 gauge wire. After you print out your template, you're going to cut out the box shelf and lid and also the pair of hands. You can use scissors or a craft knife and ruler to cut them out. Just make sure you are as accurate as possible. Use your scoring tool and ruler to score along the lines indicated on your template. Gently fold up those scored lines along the ruler's edge. You're doing that for the lid, shelf, and box. Set a scrap piece of cardboard under your work and use the push pin to poke through the 6 holes indicated. Measure out approximately 12 centimeters of wire and you're going to bend that into your crankshaft. I found the easiest way is to work left to right, mark the first corner on your wire with a Sharpie, bend it down, then put the wire back on the guide. Mark the next corner and bend it, then move along. Just check your accuracy with each bend, make adjustments as you need to. You want to stick to the guide as closely as possible to make an accurate crankshaft. Next, you're going to build your hand rods. Do this by cutting 2 lengths of about 7 centimeters from your floral wire. Wrap one end of floral wire very tightly around the shaft of your push pin. Wiggle off this coil and nip off the loose tail. Lay that back down on your wire bending guide and then form a loose loop in the free end. This loop doesn't have to be bang onto the drawing, but make sure your hand rods are not longer than the drawing. Thread your hand rods up through the bottom of your shelf. The coiled ends should be on the underside where the tabs point down. You might have to use your pliers to undo your loops a little bit to get them through the holes. Just reform them after that. Now you're going to attach your hands to the top of your hand rods. I just ripped off a little scrap of paper and sandwiched the wire loops in between the paper hand and the scrap. The trick here is to apply a dab of glue and hold your sandwich for a few seconds so the glue can take hold. Glue on the back and left tab of the shelf. That's the back and left tab only. Again, the trick here is just to hold things in place for a few seconds while the glue sets. Glue the left tab of the top and the left tab of the bottom onto the left wall of the box. Again, we're only assembling the left side here. Hold those for a sec to set up, and then you're going to apply a thin layer of glue onto the left side reinforcement panels. Wiggle those paper hands out of the way and fold the reinforcement panels down inside the box, smoothing things out nicely. Now here's the finicky bit of this thing. You're going to take the crankshaft and thread it through those coils on the bottom of your hand rods. Go slowly, do one hand rod at a time, and you may need to use a fingernail just to coax those little coils around the corners of your crankshaft. Arrange the hand rods so there's one on each step in the crankshaft. Now take the long tail end of the crankshaft and thread it through the hole on the right side of the box. You'll have to bend the tail to get it to go through the hole. That's okay, just straighten it out again. Make sure the left end of the crankshaft goes through the hole on the left side of the box, and use your pliers to bend that down at 90 degrees to lock it in. Now you can assemble the right wall of the box, starting with securing the tabs from the top, bottom, and shelf onto the right wall. Hold those in place until the glue sets up a bit, and then glue down your right side reinforcement panels. It can be kind of hard to slide that lower bit around the crankshaft. Find yourself a good poking tool to help you do the job. Now we're going to form that long tail end of the crankshaft into a crank. Pinch the wire near the box with your pliers and then bend the free end down towards the bottom. Grab the wire near the bottom of the box and push the free end out. Slide on your wooden bead, give yourself a few millimeters, and then snip off the rest of the tail. Use your pliers to bend up that end at 90 degrees to lock the bead on. And yes, it worked. You might find your hand rods slip around a little bit, but you can experiment with curving them slightly in either direction to keep the motion smooth. The final thing to do is assemble the lid of your box.
And that's a wrap on my thumbs up machine. Give me a like if you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you build a thumbs up machine, and make sure you subscribe so you can see what I get up to next. I am posting new content to this channel as often as I can. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. I am Jane Sawyer Makes on all platforms. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all on the next one.